All right, good evening and welcome to our first lecture of 2026. My name is Carolina Navarro. I'm the Deputy Director of the Society, and it's great to be here with you for the January lecture. As always, let's start with a few announcements. All right, for those of you who may not know, the Horological Society of New York marks its 160th anniversary this year, celebrating more than a century and a half of advancing the art and science of horology. As we celebrate this milestone, we extend our deepest thanks to our members and our sponsors whose continued generosity and commitment make our work possible. We're excited for what the future holds, and we look forward to celebrating with you this year. So our January classes are now live, as well as tickets to our traveling education destinations. We have Atlanta later this month, and Washington, D.C., March 14th through 15th. Our financial aid enrollment is now live. Watchmaking students can now send in their applications to our 10 scholarship opportunities, including the new Independent Watchmaker Grant, which offers awards of up to $50,000. You can also look on our website for more information. If you know any watchmaking student or someone who wants to go to watchmaking school, please direct them to our website where they can learn more about this. All right, our gala tickets are almost sold out, so come celebrate our biggest night of the year with a black tie gala at the Plaza Hotel, where you can meet and mingle with over 400 of the industry's most prominent watchmakers, brands, and VIPs. And last but not least, our early American pocket watch exhibit will be extended for a few more weeks, so don't miss your opportunity to see some of the most important American watches, including the very first pocket watch that was assembled on American soil here in New York. Our next exhibit will be announced very soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, so for tonight's lecture, we turn our attention to the public clocks that quietly shape and sometimes escape our daily awareness. Please join me in welcoming artist and educator Suzanne Dirks as she explores whether these shared timekeepers still organize how New Yorkers move through the city.
Thank you. Hi. I cannot believe this is happening right now. Like, crazy. But I'm so humbled and honored to be here to talk with you all tonight. I'm obviously extremely nervous, but I'm extremely excited as well. And I'm new to the topic, so I'm no expert. A lot of you probably know more than I do, but I'm here to offer you a fresh perspective, why these clocks have caught my attention, and I hope they catch your attention too. So I do have notes, and I'm going to start to look at them. All right, so the first thing I want to do is thank the Horological Society of New York for inviting me to speak today. Like I said, I'm so humbled, I'm so honored that you are all here tonight to share this time with me. We are inside of the General Society of Mechanics and Tradesmen building, which has been here since 1785, and the Horological Society has been here since 1866. So these have been around for a very long time, and I'm just diving into this history, and it is fascinating. So I'm just really excited and passionate, so bear with me. So time is something that we all share, and tonight we're going to be talking about the public clocks of New York City, their past, their present, and their future. This place that we're in right now blends historic preservation with education, and that is speaking my language. I grew up in the West Village, which is a place that has preserved its past, and I was an educator for 11 years. Before we dive in, we're gonna play a little game, and it's called Have You Seen This Clock? So, by a show of hands, have you seen this clock? Okay, awesome. Does someone know the name of it? Anyone want to shout it out? Or if you know it, just shout it.
Paramount.
You got it. Nice. Okay. This is exciting because this means that these are my people. You've seen it. I love this. Okay. The next one. By a show of hands, who has seen this clock? Okay. So, well, hold on. So all the people that are not raising their hands have not seen this before? That's the truth? Okay. Oh my God. Okay, this is so exciting. Okay, you've surely seen this one. Raise your hand if you've seen this one. Okay, hands down. Just no shame at all, I promise. Raise your hand if you've not seen this clock. Okay, so this is City Hall, and it's pretty important. Now you've seen it, but you should definitely go see it in person. Okay, by a show of hands, who has seen this clock? That's great. Anyone know the name of it? Yes, good job. I tried to stump you with this because this is huge, and we'll talk about it.
What's the name?
MetLife Insurance Building. Yeah. I can't wait. I got to tell you. That's 3 floors of clock. 3 floors. Like, that's huge. Exciting. Okay. By a show of hands, who has seen this clock? Okay, that's good. This one's insane. Beautiful. How about this one? Amazing. I see a follower, I hate saying that, but a person who follows me who noticed this one, and that was really exciting to see because when I noticed it, I get really excited when I see clocks, and that's why I'm here today. So this one is on the GE building. I'm not going to go too far into it, and I'm not even going to tell you where it is, but you should go find it. You'll see it someday. It's so good. Okay. Have you seen this clock? 3. 2 of you? 3 of you? Wow, that's awesome. 4 of you, 5 of you. Okay, this is good. Well, these are all clocks that are in New York City. Have you seen this one? Okay, this is in Soho. And how many times have we all walked through Soho? I mean, I've walked through Soho a lot, and I never saw this clock until this year. I'm 34. And that's actually the case with most of these clocks. So we're going to get into that. Like, why have I not seen these clocks? And you guys too, apparently. And have you seen this clock? Yeah, this one's gone. We're going to talk about that. So, for me, every clock is a window into a time past. Whenever I see a clock, okay, sorry, it's my first lecture ever, so we're gonna support me in this moment. Woohoo! Okay, it's like a skill, you know? Okay, before we dive in, okay, we played the game, it was so fun. Whenever I see a clock, I think, how did you get there? How long have you been there? How long, or who put it there? Is this clock working? I believe that every clock is a window into a time past. And public clocks are all over New York City. They're on banks, churches, towers, sidewalks, transit hubs. And I noticed that not all of them are on the same time. We see them today, but once upon a time, we relied on them. The public clocks that remain today are in various conditions and accuracies. And so I wonder, how many people are looking at the clocks these days, and for what purpose? So, we are all familiar with this term, a New York minute. Time moves so fast here. So let's take a moment to clock this moment. Okay, I just feel like we're all moving fast all the time, moving on to the next thing. We're scheduling our days down to the minute, trying to fit in all the things that we want to do, work out, go to work, leisure. And I've found that time is limited and it is precious. However it is that you guys use your time, I don't know, but I'm excited to learn more about you all. But we all have one thing in common tonight, and it is that we made a choice to be here and talk about clocks. And that is so exciting. This is not something I would have ever thought would happen, I guess, if you asked me a year ago. But if you asked me 5 months ago, like, I knew this was cool stuff. So I'm glad we're here. Okay. So, let me just tell you a little bit about who I am so you know who is speaking to you. Because I'm not someone that has studied clocks forever. This is newer for me. So I want to share with you what lens I'm coming from and what perspective I have. Okay. So, how did we get here tonight? So before I had this enthusiasm for clocks, I grew up in the West Village in New York City, and then I went to college and I studied art, specifically fabric, textiles. I've always been interested in fabric and the way that through lived experience we can add meaning to fabric. And I see a thread here, so yeah, I went to art school and then I became a teacher. I was a teacher of preschool for 11 years, and that's why I'm here today, because I'm taking a break from that. So I did that for 11 years. I went and got my master's in a dual master's in early childhood and special education. And within those 11 years, both my parents passed away. And I share that because I think that it has a very large correlation to why I see clocks. So, life had to move forward, and I had to find happiness. And biking became my meditation, my joy, and my time. On those rides around the city, I would often notice the people of New York City, the varied architecture, and the clocks. They're so beautiful, they're everywhere. And when I see a clock, I get really excited. My voice gets higher. I say clock. It's weird. It's I get really excited and I start to tremble. And I'm still trying to figure that out. But I'm definitely the person to be talking about this tonight because I'm just so excited about it. So when I see a clock, one main question I ask is, does it tell time? But another question I ask is, what stories will it tell? Because it's not just a clock. There's a lot more behind it. And I think we can start to gather that it's not just about the clocks for me. So, last April, I began photographing and taking videos of these clocks. I'd been seeing them for a bit, but I said, enough is enough. I need to document this. So I started taking photos, and then I would learn a little bit more about them. And then I shared them on an Instagram that I created to be very focused on clocks. I didn't know if anyone would be interested. I was super excited, but I don't know. I just wanted to put it out there and say, is anyone noticing these clocks? Because I feel well, you'll see, but in some of the videos, no one's looking at them. Everyone's looking at their phone, looking down. And so, I did this Instagram, and it's been a really fun adventure for me. I'm gonna take a sip of water. This is the Paramount building, by the way, which some of you have seen. So, I knew there would be a lot of clocks, but I didn't know the amount that I would stumble upon. And that's how I did it. I stumbled upon these clocks. I organically saw them in real life. And even if I'd seen it once before and taken its photo, I needed to take a photo of it every time I passed it. So this is the Paramount building. And one thing I find fascinating about it is that it has 4 clocks on the top, and then it has one on the bottom. But those 4 clocks are not all the same. 2 are similar, and 2 are similar. But when you start passing clocks over and over and over, you see them through different times, literally. Different times on the clock, different weather, different time of day, different light. And so that was really exciting to me, to see just the life this clock was living. So there were a few clocks that I would see every day, and I almost felt like those clocks were seeing me every day too. Across various seasons, different states of mind I was in, and I wondered, what else have these clocks seen? How did the clock get there? When did it get there? Who else saw this clock? Who needed it? And why? So these clocks have been here since way long before my time, and yet how did I never see them before? How am I just now seeing them at 34? It's interesting. So, but once I started to see them, I can't stop seeing them. They're everywhere. And this is proof, by the way, right here. In the back there, those are screenshots. My friends started seeing clocks everywhere. They're sending me clocks. And then people on Instagram were like, here's the clock. And this is so exciting because it's not just me and the clocks anymore. It's other people out in the world being present and noticing these things around them and then sharing that and connecting with others. Like, is there nothing better than that? It's amazing. So this has just been really fun for me. Okay, before we get into some facts, if you would, I would really appreciate it if you would get out your cell phones and follow New York City clocks. Because next time you see a clock, I hope that you will take a photo of it and send it to me, and that we can continue to spread this awareness that clocks are all around us. And if you don't catch it right now, I'll hound you later. But yeah, thank you. Okay, so what else are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to take a close look at some of the clocks from around the city and the stories they tell, and we're going to look back at the history of public clocks and how they came to New York City. And we'll explore where New York's clocks stand today and our relationship to them now. So that's how my journey started. I would be out on my bike and I would pass clocks, I felt, from every angle. You could be far away, it could be day, it could be night, and there were clocks everywhere. And then there were times where I would stop. I would get off my bike and I would take a video. And I'm getting emotional thinking about that because how often do we get to pause and be present? At least I struggle with it. I feel like I'm always like, what's next? What's next? How can I be better? What can I do? How am I going to fit it all in? And so clocks for me was just just pause, just look at the clock. And then I started to see them through change. I saw scaffolding go up and down. I saw clocks have different times on different sides, and just all kinds of clocks, digital, non-digital, analog, oh my God. So, and then it wasn't just seeing the clock, it was also what was going on around the clock. So, like I said, people Like, no one else was looking at it. Not that they have to, but I just observed that people didn't notice it. And I'm like, this thing is so pretty, beautiful. Like, can we all enjoy it together? But so I just, I put it online, and I'm really happy that there are other people that see clocks. Okay, so this was another one I noticed. Does anyone else in the room know where this one is? No. Actually, you in the back, second row, you were the one who told me this. Yes, you told me this one existed. Yep. And I was like, what? And then I went toward Bowery. I happened to be by Bowery one day, and I saw it. And I was like, what? How did I miss this? You guys, look at this. How do I miss this? And it's been there since 1834. It's not a bank anymore. I think it's like a club. But how exciting. It's still here. This one, I'm sure most of us have seen. Raise your hand if you've seen this one. Okay. So I had seen this one before, but I hadn't stopped and taken a closer look at it. And after doing so, I saw a bunch more of these post clocks around the city. And I really like to look back at the past and see what they looked like in the past and what the surrounding area as well looked like. So here are just 3 examples of post clocks that I've seen around the city, and we'll learn a little bit more about these shortly. But I wanted to kind of present these to you with not too much information at first, because that is how I approached it. I didn't know anything, and I don't know what I know now. I know a lot more than I knew a few months ago, but I think we can just look at these and be curious. Like, they're jewelry, they're spectacles, they're beautiful. So this one I learned a little bit more about. It's in really good condition, right? And the time is right. So it's like someone's taking care of this clock. So I learned that it's been here since 1909, and it was restored in 2011 by Electric Time Company. So it's been here since 1909, and before that, there was actually a hotel over there on 23rd and 5th, and it closed, and that original clock went with it. But then this one was put up in its honor to, continue this. You know what? I'm gonna go with, I don't know why exactly, but they did, and it's still here. And it doesn't have its original mechanism. It's been electrified, and this whole mechanism thing with clocks is something I don't know all that there is to know, obviously, but I'm learning. But there are so many avenues to go down. It's a rabbit hole. So this was another clock that I saw. Who has seen this one? I know it's tough to see what it is because there's not much context. Anyone know it? Nice. So this is the Bogardus Plaza clock. Now that you see it zoomed out, have you seen this clock? Okay, great. No, this is on Chambers Street. So it looks like a very, very old clock, and it is, but it actually was installed in 2020. And I think that's really awesome because it showed that, clocks are important. And by putting this clock here, it's helping to find the neighborhood. And it's in a little plaza. And so last year I was at a job and I didn't love it. And on my lunch breaks, I would go to this little plaza and I would see this clock. And it was always correct, which was really nice. Time was always right, so I knew, okay, gotta go back. But it was really healing for me to just sit in this park, hear the birds, and be near this clock. So I'm happy it exists. So there are so many post clocks around the city. This is not all of them. This is just ones that I've personally photographed. And those are their names. Yeah, they're pretty, right? And they're tall. They're so tall. Oh, I left a little guy in this one. You see? See how tall that is? So like, again, how do you miss that? But like I did. So these handsome cast iron street clocks of New York represent an increasingly rare sampling of a type of street amenity that once proliferated. They are, in most cases, masterpieces of cast iron workmanship, beautifully designed and prominent sidewalk landmarks. As an essential part of the city's urban fabric, they make a very special and significant contribution to the New York streetscape. So that is an excerpt from a Landmarks Preservation Committee designation on one of the post clocks, and I just love the wording, and yeah, I love that it says urban fabric. Remember, I love fabric. So that, and actually, we're gonna get more into preservation shortly, but so back to my point that public clocks are all over the city. So why are they here? As capitalism expanded in the late 1800s and into the early 1900s, institutions across American cities, including financial institutions, transportation depots, municipal buildings, educational institutions, and numerous other locations, competed with one another to become community time providers. In the 19th century, New York City became America's showplace for time. Clocks of every shape and size appeared across the city, and that signaled technological progress. And by the early 20th century, public clocks were essential infrastructure, and New Yorkers knew exactly where to find the time when they needed it. And if you didn't have a watch, because they were expensive, you could check the time on a public clock, or if you did have a watch, you could set the time on your watch based on the public clock that you saw. So they had a purpose. This is an excerpt from the designation, the landmarks, and it says that so street clocks were available in catalogs back then, and there were several companies that mainly did that. There's the Seth Thomas Company and the E. Howard Clock Company. And so Seth Thomas established the Seth Thomas Clock Company in 1861, and he was one of America's pioneer clock manufacturers. And then there's E. Howard Clock and Watch Company in 1861. Who knows these, by the way? Just curious. Nice. Okay, I see a few. So I didn't know any of this at all before, but clock those names, because once you see some clocks around the city, you're gonna see Seth Thomas, you're gonna see E. Howard, and like I was at the Chelsea Flea and I saw some old clock faces and they said Seth Thomas on them, and I got them for like $5 or something, which is interesting. But you know, I wouldn't have known what that was before that, so just get that name in there because you'll see it. So these were some of the catalogs that you could buy the clock in. The one all the way there to the left is like the one that you saw at Bogardus Plaza. So hundreds of clocks graced the streets of New York City, but some became casualties of accidents with the rise of automobiles in the 20th century, and others disappeared with demolished buildings. So does anyone notice on the top two, it's the same clock, but does anyone notice one thing that's different about it between the two photos? Yes, yes. That's a really good way to tell us. It is turned. So it is turned because a car hit it. Yeah.
I walk by this clock every day.
Awesome. Yay. Who sent me this clock? Was it you? Sarah? Someone sent me this clock. It was my friend Suzanne. She sent me this clock, and then I sent her this picture from your book. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sorry, I have to introduce you guys. This is Tom Bernardin. Can you just say hi? He is from Save America's Clocks. Amazing. Yes. Yes. And this is Chris DeSantis over here, who, yes, who, like, my whole presentation is based off of. And I didn't even know that. I mean, I knew I was basing the presentation off this book, but I didn't know that he would be here today. So that was really exciting and terrifying, but, you know, these are my people. But yeah, so Lizanne sent me that photo, and then I opened your book, and I sent her that picture, and she was like, oh, it's facing a different way. And it was just through that conversation that I learned that, and then, I don't know, I think that's cool. So, sensing this unfortunate trend of losing clocks, in 1981, the Landmarks Preservation Commission designated 8 sidewalk clocks that are still standing as landmarks, including this one, which is right down the street. So maybe if you leave, when you leave tonight, you'll see it. It's on 44th and 5th Ave. It's 19 feet tall, which is really, really tall. And again, this is, sorry, that's obviously, you know, that's tall. But again, this is just another example of something huge that I think a lot of people have walked by and not even noticed. Okay, I haven't looked at my notes in a while, so I hope I didn't miss anything, but I'm just passionate about this, so it's all good. So this is another clock I noticed. Who has seen this one? Yeah, this one's been around a long, long time. And this is where I tell you there's so much to learn about this clock. And I can't wait to do that. But before I do that, here are some examples of clocks in that style, which is a decorative or bracket clock. These are like so cute, right? They're like little jewelry for a building. And there's older ones, there's newer ones. This Harry Potter one, it's a double-sided, and then that building actually has one on the other side. So there's 2 double-sided dragon Harry Potter clocks on that building. The Cartier building clock, I haven't found as much information as I would like to, so if anyone knows more about it, but I did learn that the Cartier building was sold for a pearl necklace and $1. Am I wrong? No, I'm right. That's true. But I wouldn't have known that unless I was looking for information on this clock. So these clocks continue to teach me, yeah, who made it and whatnot, and that's important, but it's also who put it there? When did this building get here? You know, more context. So some more clocks that I've seen are around businesses. Brooklyn Diner in the city, lots of Rolexes all over the city. Have you ever been to JFK Airport? Rolex, 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 Rolex. I mean, like, I got tired taking pictures because there were so many. I'm not mad about it, but it's a lot. It's a lot of Rolex. This one over here, I can't even go down the road of the emotions that I experienced when I saw it. Yeah, well, I'll share it like in 2 weeks. It's good. It's so good. And then over here on the right are some more examples of businesses that put clocks outside, to catch your attention and bring you inside. So back to that clock that we haven't seen. So this clock taught New York a very valuable lesson. So this was the original Penn Station that was constructed in 1910 and 11. And it had this incredible clock out on the front. And it had as well, this other clock on the inside. And it was really a masterpiece, they said. This building, like the light that went in, and it was a public space, but it was demolished. And they did save parts of the clock, which I believe you can see in museums. I don't know exactly what parts. I believe the sculptures around it. But this taught New York a lesson in that we need to save some things from the past, because this was a big loss. And that's where Madison Square Garden is now. So, continuing on my journey, has anyone seen this clock? Cool. Yeah, I hadn't seen this clock until this year. As you can see, it's in the ground, which is very unique. It's not on a building, it's not a post clock. And it's been there since the late 1800s. And I found this interesting. When I walked by, it was next to a pizza thing, and it just, I don't know, it made me kind of sad, right? It's like this thing that's like, I don't know, I feel like it deserves more respect or something, more space. However, it's kind of clever because maybe this pizza place knew to get your attention, and that's so. Clocks weren't just to tell you the time, they were also advertising, right? So, interesting placement for this pizza place. Good job. So if you haven't seen that clock, you really should go see it. It's just very unique, and it lights up at night, which is one of the other more exciting things about clocks, is when they illuminate at night, right? It's so exciting. So, okay. So here's an example of a digital clock. Has anyone seen this one? Great. Yeah, this one is in FIDI. It's been here since 1971. It is definitely not working. It's supposed to, like, one of the numbers on top is supposed to light up, and then one of the numbers, how you would read time. But it seems like all of the lights are everywhere. But it's really fascinating, and it's really large scale. Like, if you go there, it's a whole building. So I suggest going to visit. And then here's just some more examples of clocks around the city. So on transportation. So Grand Central, of course, Moynihan, and then this is Bowling Green. Not functional, but still beautiful. And on banks. So lots of banks have clocks. These are on the Upper West Side, over here, Upper West Side, Bowery, Williamsburg, and then that is at the base of the Manhattan Bridge. There's like a viral TikTok right now on the corner for like a Lumineers song, Canal and Bowery. So everyone's like going to like hang on this thing over there. But I want people to see the clock. They're so close, but they don't see it. So there's also a lot of clocks on churches, and churches have obviously been around for a long time, and they were one of the earlier clocks that we would see in the city. So we have Trinity Church, St. Paul's Chapel, Fifth Ave Presbyterian, and Marble Collegiate. There are more than that. These are just a few, and I've photographed more than that, but here's a few. I wanted to mention that St. Paul's Chapel is, I believe, the oldest clock. Thank you. And when I was reading about it, there was a really cool story that it did not burn down in 1766 when there was a fire, because people worked together to give each other buckets of water from the Hudson River. Community worked together passing water from the river to save this chapel. And I think that's just beautiful. And it has been restored, so that's why it looks so beautiful. But yeah, since 1766. So this one is the Marble Collegiate, and I noticed It was 11:49 in the morning, but one says 11:55 and one says 7:20. So like I don't know whose responsibility it is. I'm just pointing it out. So this is another one that I find so fascinating, and I have some specs about it that I wanted to share. Yeah. So, oh, yeah, they're gonna come on right here. So, like I said earlier, these clocks are huge. 26 foot, 5-inch diameter, which is 3 of the floors, and each of the minute hands are 1,000 pounds, and they're 17 feet, 5 inches long, and the hour hands are 700 pounds and 13 feet long, and there's 4 of those, and every number is about 4 feet. So when you think about just the scale and the weight of this clock, it's a lot. It's a lot. But it's just really magnificent that we get to walk by this every day. This is the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company building, and it is on 23rd. It's 50 stories high, and the base of it occupies a whole city block. And I really love this middle photo because of the reflection caused by the clock on the other side. I thought that was really cool. I took it. I saw it. I noticed it. What?
Is that the MetLife building?
Yes. This is the oh my God. Really? New York Life building. Are you sure? No, it's the MetLife building. Yeah. Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. I got it from your book, so.
New York Life is the one that's just north of that.
Okay, the New York Life is the one that's just north of that. So this is, I couldn't be that wrong. I did study, I did. I'm no expert, but I did study. So this is the MetLife Insurance Building. I mean, I can't tell you I don't know what their whole business was about. I'm assuming it was life insurance, but I just care about the clock. So another clock I'm really interested in is the Paramount Building. Like I said, huge clocks, light up at night. They're different. And again, another example, I've passed these clocks a lot on my bike, and I swear, like, no one's ever looking at it, which is fine, but I do. And I found an interesting fact about this one. So during World War II, the globe on the top was painted black to maintain a blackout condition for fear of an enemy invasion. And then they restored it in 1996. So there were many years where this globe was painted black. And then once they restored it, it was lit a constant white after dusk with red pulses every 15 minutes to signify the time. And it also had chimes. So bells and chimes are another thing about clocks that it's something else. I haven't gotten there yet, but I know they're there. I hear them. They're so awesome. But I haven't reached that part of my research. Right now, I'm noticing, photographing, and I'm at the tip of the iceberg. But there's chimes. So this is just an interesting little data. The other day, I was there for New Year's. No, I didn't show up early and wear a diaper. We had tickets and all, like, for free. It was awesome. But so I was like right there with the clocks, and the one really high up, perfect, good. But the one that's at human level was an hour off. So like when it struck midnight, it was 1. I was like, that's wrong. But like no one's looking at it anyway, right? But I'm looking at it and I care and I notice, so it matters. Okay, I just wanted to quickly touch on this one. So many of you had not seen it, so we got to talk about it. So this is in Herald Square, and as you can see, it's very close to the Empire. And before it was this memorial, it was a whole building. This was the headquarters for the Herald Tribune newspaper, and they were well known for sensational coverage of scandal and crime. And when they would be working on their material, they had these owls. You can see them up top, and their eyes would light green. And that would show people around that we're working on our stories and something exciting is coming soon. So the building was knocked down, I think in 1920 something, I think. And then the memorial came in 1940. But I took this picture up top. The green eyes still glow. They saved the Minerva on the top there, and the blacksmiths on her side, Stuff and Guff, or Gog and Magog. And this is a glockenspiel. So this is a kind of clock that makes noise and music. So I just think it's really cool that they were able to save these parts from a building and put them into a memorial that we can enjoy today. Okay, so this is the Con Ed building. I'm assuming a lot of us have seen this one, yes? Hopefully. This is on 14th Street. It's like iconic skyline. Interestingly, those 3 towers that I shared were early skyscrapers in New York City. So they were some of the tallest buildings, earliest, tallest buildings for us. And they now serve as a symbol of how important time was back then. And I'm just gonna point it out. The other day, I passed by Con Ed, and the time, who can read me the time on that side? Anyone?
3:40.
Yeah, it could be 3:42. We could say you're right. What about this one? What time is it over here? Yeah, 2:36. So it's very wrong. And this is a really big clock and it's Con Ed. Like, they have money. Sorry if Con Ed's here tonight, but I'm calling you out. Right? I mean, doesn't it matter? This is huge. Everyone sees this. It matters. Okay, I want to talk about the Yorkville clock. And I'm not going to cry, but if I do, it's okay. So the Yorkville clock is 17 feet tall, and it was originally installed in front of the Adolf Stern jewelry store on 85th and 3rd. And then it moved across the street in 1923. It was common practice for businesses to put a clock outside their business, and if they moved, they would sometimes take the clock with them because it was expensive and they wanted to continue on with it. So this was the Adolf Stern jewelry store clock. The 3 balls you see at the top of the original actually signify a pawn shop, and I didn't know that before, and I found that interesting. And then I've started to see other little pawn shop, that 3 ball in other places, so just cool symbolism to know. But this one has a cool story. So it did receive landmark status in 1981, but then in 1985, someone sold it by accident, and it went missing. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And then they found it. Well, someone noticed it was gone. A few years later, and it was gone for 3 years, and then they found it in this guy's backyard in Long Island, and then they got it back here, but they got it refurbished by an antique dealer, but then it fell into disrepair again about a decade later. And then local residents formed the Neighbors Restoring Historic Yorkville Clock. They raised $18,000 for restoration, and it was completed by the Historical Arts and Casting Company and reinstalled in 1999. So this guy right here is right here. Woo! Yeah. How cool is that? And I didn't know him, and I didn't know this clock, but I found it, and then I found him, and then we have all these mutual things, and it's just another example of how clocks bring people together. So another person I want to tell you about is Margot Gale. She's the woman right next to Tom, right there, and she is an inspiration to me. Before I talk about her, I have something to share. So I was at the clock the other day, and I don't think it is running. And so we got to work on that. I don't know whose responsibility it is, and I'm not putting blame, and maybe there's an issue, I don't know. And maybe it just has to be wound. And, I don't know. But this is just my observation, and I care that it works, and I know that you would care if it works. So we'll figure this out. We got this. I know who to talk to. So this is Margot Gale. I'm like ashamed that I didn't know who she was until recently, because like I said, I grew up in the West Village. I'm a West Village resident through and through, and she was a really big deal. So she helped save the Jefferson Market clock. The courthouse, it was a courthouse before, and she helped save it and is now a library. But it was the clock that struck people's heart, I would say, and made them want to support this restoration. So just a quick history of the clock. So I grew up very close to this. This is something that I saw very often and really defines my neighborhood for me. So it was a courthouse at one point, and then it was vacant, and they were going to demolish it. But Margot and a group of others said, nah, that's not happening. This place is too special, too beautiful, too historic to do that. So they worked hard, and they worked together, and they saved it. And before I move on, do we see that other clock on the corner there? That's gone, but that was on 9th Street, and I'm excited to go learn more about that one. And then interestingly, there used to be a train, above train thing on 6th Ave. So this clock is working great. It has been for many years. I guess I didn't include some of my older photos, but since I've lived in the area for years, I have noticed this one, and I have many photos of it, and it is like always right. So someone's taking care of this one, and we can rely on it. So something I learned is that there is a New York City clock master. Did you know that? Yeah, cool, right? So his name's Marvin Schneider. He's not here tonight, but he is still the active clockmaster. He has been our clockmaster since 1992. He was actually doing the job for free before that, just out of love for clocks. And I think in 1992 they offered him the job. They were just do it for we'll pay you maybe. But he has been doing this for many years, and then he works with his assistant, Forrest Markowitz, and they've been servicing most of the publicly owned clocks, weekly winding, as well as turning the clocks back on daylight savings twice a year. But yeah, weekly winding. A lot of these clocks require weekly winding. And that's something I'm still going to learn more about. But that goes to show that clocks need care, right? They need us. So there's way too many clocks to put in one presentation. There's so many. But I wanted to share why maybe I noticed clocks. So when my father was 81, he was, they did a cognitive test for him. And they do this for, to see if you have Alzheimer's or dementia. And I was there with him, and it was a simple question: draw a clock face. And he could not do it. And that was just crazy to me, because I think of a clock face and I'm like, it's just something we know, right? And so I watched him. He didn't know where to put the 11. I think he got to like 10, but then he didn't know where to put the 11. And from that moment, I tell you, I was like, I will never forget a clock face. I will never forget it. And I draw them often. I don't know. I don't know if this is why, but I think it's really important that we know how to tell time on a clock face. I heard recently that a lot of kids are not able. So that's, hopefully people know how to read clocks. So what has clocking taught me? Clocking, and by clocking I mean looking around at clocks. Clocking has taught me to find moments to pause in a city that moves so fast. It has taught me to honor the past. It has taught me to be present, be in the moment. It has taught me to follow my curiosity, because you never know where it will take you. And it has taught me to share and connect with others. So, time mixed with people, you get meaning. So, these clocks have a whole life before us, and we're learning that life. But we're here now, and what life are we living in relation to these clocks? Because if you think about it, these clocks have been here the whole time. And I look back at old pictures, I'm like, oh, there's a clock in the background. Like, I didn't know they were there, but they were always there, quietly supporting me and us, quietly ticking. They're like a heartbeat in this city. They're like life to me. And so, clocks remind us that we need to allow time for what sparks joy and curiosity for us, and we have to follow what we keep returning to time and time again. And I will leave you with this. We walk past public clocks every day. Some of us still look at them, and some of us don't. And some of us only notice them when they stop. Why? Thank you for sharing your time with me today. Hold on to this one.
Thank you so much for your amazing presentation, something that I'm sure we're all going to pay more attention to. We're going to open it up for Q&A. If you have a question, raise your hand, and I'll come around with the mic.
Hello, thank you so much. I was wondering, given that you're New York City based, I was thinking if you're planning on traveling around the world, would you be thinking of other clocks, around the world? And if so, do you have a favorite spot you think you would want to do that?
Thank you for your question. That's a really good one. I've definitely thought about this, because you're right, clocks are everywhere. And as you mentioned earlier, you're from London and Big Ben. So we all know Big Ben. Yeah, he's a looker. But I'm a New York City girl. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate them, but it's daunting, right? I can only focus on one thing at a time, or I try. But there are other people out there who do think about the clocks of the world. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in them, but I might not post them all over New York City clocks. But they're everywhere. I have a friend in London right now sending me pictures of clocks around London. I had, literally whenever people travel, they send, these people over here send me clocks from Spain. They're everywhere. So, yeah. But Tom over here works does Save America's Clocks, and he does a whole national clock thing. If you go to his website, Save America's Clocks, he has a whole inventory of clocks across the U.S., which for me is daunting, right? I can do 5 boroughs, okay?
Thank you. Any questions?
Hello. Really loved your lecture tonight. It kind of inspired me because similarly, I'm also obsessed with clocks. Would you ever consider working as a team to create like a clock New York City app where it's kind of like eBird, where you could kind of, when you see a New York City clock, put it on there, and that way more people could learn about them?
Yeah, let's do it.
I love that. I would sign up.
Yeah, it's happening.
Questions over here.
Thank you for your lecture.
Thank you.
What is the clock on your New York City bucket list you haven't seen yet in person? And the second question is, what is a clock that no longer exists that you wish you could have seen?
Wow, that was a really good question. So, I've never been to a clock, like in one. Apparently you can go in them, like the big ones. So I've never been inside of one. I would love to go, actually, no, that's not true. I did go into the clock tower building at 346 Broadway many, many years ago, but I I knew the clock was there, but I wasn't like, oh my God, the clock, I wasn't there yet. But okay, I would love to go to the Paramount building, and I would love to go back to the clock tower if it ever existed for us to be able to. And really any clock, just any clock. And are there any clocks that I wish were still here? Probably the Penn Station one. Seems like that was a big deal. Yeah. Next.
Thank you. I saw another hand over here.
Hi, I believe we were promised your top 10 favorite clocks.
My top 10 favorite?
Yeah, did you already do that throughout, or
No, but I got
is there
you.
a list?
I got you on that.
Okay.
So, I don't pick favorites. Okay? No favorites. Like, do you pick your favorite child? Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. We'll see. But, yeah, I have no favorites, but which ones get me, like, so excited? Well, the GE building, iconic. And then that is right near the Benjamin Hotel. Oh God, you got me started. Okay, sometimes you're standing on the corner and you see more than one clock at once. Fascinating. You can see, like, you could be standing in one spot and it's like clock, clock, clock. So I did not answer your question, but I guess they're all important and they all matter. They're all great.
All right, we have a question over here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any fun facts of when temperatures started being included in clocks? Like the time temps?
No. But I have seen that a lot of clocks include temperature, and I also find that fascinating. And I know that on the Sun building, there's that gorgeous bracket clock at the corner, and then at the following corner is a big thermometer. So I highly recommend going to see that one because it's like a nice old style. But yeah, I do like seeing the little digital clocks that like go back and forth between time and temp. Like they're really nostalgic. And there's one in the West Village by 9th Street that's no longer lit, but like I grew up seeing it lit, and so it's a little sad to see it like dead. But maybe I can bring that digital clock back. We'll see.
Great. I have a quick question, if I may.
Yeah.
Do you know if new construction plans to incorporate clocks?
That's a great question. So I would love to know the answer. That's something I'm going to explore, but what I can share is that in my research and noticing, there are a bunch of buildings that exist that did come about in the last 20 years. Did I say a bunch? I meant some. That have clocks built into their new architecture. So over by the Trader Joe's in Soho, there's a clock on the Sullivan Street, and it doesn't illuminate at night, but it's still great. But if you're at Trader Joe's, you'll see that one. And there's like all these Trader Joe's across the city that if you walk outside, you'll see a clock. So the 14th Street one, there's a clock outside of Trader Joe's, and on the Upper West Side, you could see like 3 clocks from that Trader Joe's. So I'll go down that rabbit hole and figure that out for you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions? I think I saw a hand all the way in the back.
Hello.
Hi.
So, what do you think about the future of New York City clocks and how we can support your restoration efforts as horology enthusiasts?
Thank you. Well, I don't know what the future of New York City clocks will look like, but I'm hopeful that today so many people showed up to talk about clocks because it shows me that they are important and I'm not alone in noticing them. And, I'm not the first person to think clocks are important, right? There's a bunch of people that have paved the way, A, for these clocks to be here, and B, that have already established, things that are going to help us think about our clocks. So I would like to work with preservation people, and just get to know more people in the clock community and see how I can help keep old clocks here. Maybe we put up a new clock somewhere. But I'd love to be involved in the public clock world more. Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe a couple more questions, and then Suzanne will stick around. Over here, can you pass this down?
Just in the spirit of going analog, are you wearing a watch right now?
I don't wear a watch. So, I don't wear a watch. I did wear a watch, but it hurt my wrist. So when I bike, the watch touched my hand and it hurt. So I don't wear a watch. So unfortunately, I find myself looking at my phone to see the time, and that is kind of also why I look at public clocks, because I don't always want to be in my phone. But I don't know if I'll get a watch. I think they're gorgeous, but they hurt my wrist a little bit. Yeah.
All right, up here.
Thank you for your presentation. In the beginning, you said that you were an educator, and then you briefly mentioned that towards the ends that you heard a story about how current kids these days can't read time. Mm-hmm. So, as an educator, what do you think about that? What is the point of appreciating time and public timekeeping if the current generation doesn't even know how to read time? What do you think the future is going to be about?
Wow, great question. I don't know the facts on clock reading being taught. I don't know if it's in school curriculums. It certainly wasn't where I was, and I could have taught it on my own volition. But in terms of it being taught out there, through forced curriculum, I don't know. I've heard from some that it isn't being taught anymore, and then I've heard from some that it is. But yes, there was a recent article that came out in the New York Post that said, so there's been a phone ban in schools to get kids off their phone and to focus. And there was a big article that came out that the teachers said the kids cannot read the clocks to when it's time to leave the class or whatever. And I've been reading the comments, people comment on my Instagram and stuff about that. And there was a teacher, and she said, I've tried to teach them and they don't want to learn. I'm like, who doesn't want to learn that? But I guess they don't think it's useful. I studied fabric for college, right? I'm someone that just really appreciates the handmade, the past, this whole future of AI and technology and digital, it's scary, it's scary. And I think that I'm not saying we're doomed or anything, but I think that we need to hold on to these things of the past. And I don't know what the future looks like, but I do not think that they should be forgotten and put in the past. Like, I think they're so relevant, and everyone should know how to read a clock. So.
Thank you. Let's do one last question. There was a hand over here. Anyone? Last question over here.
Since we have a room full of clock enthusiasts to some extent, there's a clock under threat today. It is the large clock face on the Church of the Most Holy Redeemer on 3rd Street. I grew up in the projects across the street, and that was what told us time.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see that clock get lost along with the building.
I didn't know this. Did you know this? Oh my gosh, I didn't know this. Okay, that's really sad. So we'll look into that. Thank you for telling me. There's just this clock world is endless. Like, I could have given you a whole presentation about the nature motifs on some of the clocks, you know? I could have given you, there's so many little things, so many roads to go down. But yeah, one more thing I'll say is, so I can like pretty much guarantee to all of you that I will bike every block in Manhattan to find all of the clocks. Like, no big deal, I'll do it, fine. But I can't do all of Brooklyn, all of Queens, all of Staten Island, what am I missing? Bronx. So that's like really daunting, but I do want to find those clocks. They're a little more spread out. The cities, like, they're clustered. But anyway, so I need you all to send me clocks. If you see one in Brooklyn, if you see one in the Bronx, if you see one in Queens, and even if you see it in the city, snap a little picture of it and send it to me, because it's got a new light, it's got a new time. Maybe, is it working? You know, so we're like the boots on the ground. We're all gonna walk around and look at these clocks, right? Okay, cool, thank you.
Awesome. So let's give Suzanne another round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you all so much for having me. This was really fun. Thank you.
So she's going to stick around for a little bit. For everyone else, Happy New Year. Hope to see you next month